Well, what New Jersey workability is a way for people to get Medicaid. And in order for these people to get the Medicaid, they have to fit certain specifications. So, number one, they have to have permanent disability. They have to be considered disabled, either by Social Security or through the Division of Medical Assistance and Health Services. Asperger Syndrome is considered permanent disability. So someone with Asperger's might be able to qualify for the Medicaid under New Jersey workability. And the other qualifications are that you have to be between the ages of 16 and 64. So you have to be considered permanently disabled, you have to be working, and you have to be between the ages of 16 and 64 and be a resident of the state. Disability determination, they use this, if someone doesn't have a formal, diagnosis, through the application process, the disability review team at the Division of Medical Assistance and Health Services will use the same guidelines that Social Security would use to determine if someone is disabled. So, let's say someone has this other diagnosis and it's not a formal Asperger's or autism or anything or cerebral palsy. They can go back, look at your school records, get if there are any IEPs, if there are any doctors. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of legwork, but it would be worth it to go through the application process and see if the person can get a disability determination. If they're accepted, that's fine. If they're denied, you can reapply. I mean, there's a length of time you have to wait a year, but I mean, you can still give you time to get more, documentation to support that disability. So the determination process it can be, I mean, there can be some gray areas as far as individuals who have a cognitive disability and it's not so obvious, and it's not so physical. So, but workability allows people who do qualify to get the Medicaid health benefit as long as they're employed. Now, you can be employed part-time or full-time. With regular Medicaid, you're only allowed to have up to $2,000 in assets, and you're only allowed to work a certain amount earn a certain amount of money. With New Jersey workability Medicaid, you can have a savings of up to $20,000 in liquid assets. You can own a house, a car, you can have a retirement account, and you can earn in your working income, you can earn up to $54,000. And it goes up every year, which is 250% of the federal poverty level. So it's good individual Medicaid coverage for people who qualify. If by any chance they come across other insurance or are able to get another insurance, they can use the Medicaid, the workability Medicaid as a secondary. You don't have to drop it. And right now there are no premiums. And there are lots of people that don't know about it in the state. It's just because we don't really have a lot of resources to do outreach. So the program is spread mostly by word of mouth. And right now in the state of New Jersey, there are about 4,000 people enrolled getting the Medicaid under New Jersey workability. And even some people who might be working 1 or 2 days a week can still get the Medicaid coverage. So it's just one thing that's out there for people who qualify, and it's an incentive for work.
I run the Asperger support group. I help parents understand what their child's diagnosis is. I point them to resources. I basically can go with them to an IEP meeting, help them facilitate services between school districts, understand what their child needs in school. The biggest problem that we have is Asperger's needs guidance in an employment situation, but they don't need the kind of guidance that would be somebody with PDD and OS would need, which is a little bit further down and a little bit more socially impaired than somebody with Asperger's. Well, somebody with Asperger's can be socially impaired they generally can kind of get it on their own. They might be the person in the office that just has no clue, who's socially inept, but basically can function in a pretty high-level job.
The above 21 population who have graduated and try to set up services once they have graduated. So the people that I support are out of their educational entitlement. They are registered with the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and that's how we get to know these people. As I mentioned before, we use a planning process to really look at the person's gifts. So, as we've mentioned, some jobs might seem a little bit more appropriate, but we still want to be mindful that we're trying to find the best match for the person. So if the person really has an interest in music, we're going to try to pull some information from them to see if we can use that to help us build a job that might be appropriate and something they enjoy. So in high school, they may have access to certain resources. If they are registered with DDD, most likely they'd come across my desk and be working with my agency.
And is it not true that a lot of people have fallen through the cracks and not even be identified under 16, under 20? They don't even know that it is not even known that they have it.
It's unfortunate, but I've heard that happens.
Yes.
You have people that graduate at 18, but under what we do, technically their educational entitlement is until the age of 21. So there is a gray area there for some people that they can't access our services until 21. So yes, unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. And I think just in speaking with other agencies, we were talking this morning about trying to catch those people who fall through the cracks and trying to set them up with resources. I think some schools are much more knowledgeable about resources that are out there than other schools. And that seems to be another problem that we run into.
For the majority of people, the New Jersey Division of Vocational Rehab is their gateway to employment. We are a branch of the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, which most people know as the Department of Labor, and our sole purpose is to provide all people with disabilities employment-related services. Now, an individual with Asperger's might benefit from job coaching, work evaluations, interest and aptitude evaluations. Some people need additional employment-related services such as training. And although I don't want to get into all the agency's policies and procedures because we would be here literally for the rest of the day, we provide counseling and guidance and in many cases the funding to pay for these services. There's a lot of information out there on DVR, but I'll be the first to admit that a tremendous number of people have never heard about us. And quite frankly, I don't know all. We are in the school districts. If you have a child who has an IEP, that child studies team, they know who we are, or at least they should. If you are receiving an adult service, whether you're over the age of 18 or whether you're over the age of 21, most of the major providers out there know who we are. Doctors, primary care physicians, psychologists, psychiatrists, neurologists, they should know who we are. And anyone can just do an internet search for employment with people with disabilities, and I do believe it will bring you to the state website, or at least a link to the Division of Vocational Rehab. But we are a very strong component when it comes to, not the only provider, as you can see, but we are the main funding source at this time, I do believe, for employment of this individual